Yeah, I'm in charge of it.
All right, good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us for 1 Million Cups. My name is Trezzy. I am the MC and one of the co-organizers for 1 Million Cups Madison. So we're going to go around the room here in just a second and do some introductions. But before that, I'm going to give you some sponsorships.
That's dramatic.
Seemed right. It felt right. It's right. So Dream Bank for the space, thank you for the space, and then Starting Block for their continued support. We'll go around and do these introductions and kick things over to the presenter again. My name is Trezzy. I'm a software engineering consultant.
My name is Josh Helling. I'm one of the other co-founders of 1 Million Cups Madison. My firm, Rootstock Partners, works with entrepreneurs and executives to get software product strategy right.
My name is Joey Freed. I'm a technology investment manager with the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation. What that means is we work with early stage startups, generally technology based, looking to raise capital from investors.
Good morning, everybody. I'm the founder of 16 Auctions. Sorry, my co-founder's not here, she usually is. Steve Clyde, co-founder of 32 Auctions, a platform for hosting and managing fun, easy, successful silent auctions. And without him,
Kurt,
I need you here.
We snaking through here?
Yeah.
Nice. My name's Micah Nichols. I am a real estate investor, but also I co-work a organic fair trade body care company with my wife, Crest Spring Body Care. So I do e-commerce, she does physical making, formulating. That's what I do.
My name is Nate Shields, and I'm should be presenting in just a moment.
My name is Michael Botts. I'm with Peterson Technology, aka Dr. Discovery. We help small and medium businesses with their technology frustrations.
Peter Cabby, Melf Lanninger. Sorry, try that again.
You're on Melf.
I needed the copy earlier than I actually implied. Wealth manager with Bank of America. Next.
John Pelt, Mass Hayes Fire and Rescue Products.
Rachel DuPont, I-9 Sports.
I'm James Cademan with Calls on Call, Shared Receptionist Service.
I'm Derek Kebler, founder of Field 59. Gary Faulkner, I work in cybersecurity and I'm a realtor.
Michelle Jolly, Unifying Wellness, changing the way wellness is accessed and achieved.
I'm Dan Anderson, I work for the accounting firm Baker Tilly.
Good morning, Heather Ewing, White Box Commercial Property Group. I specialize in retail real estate.
Matt Nowick, I am an engineering consultant. I specialize in IoT and IoT security. And I was coming to 1 Million Cups in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, where I was living for a while. I moved to Madison, and this is my first 1 Million Cups here in Madison.
I'm Wes Garnett. I'm a UX designer.
I'm Bob Revinelli. I'm a student at UW Madison right now, actually in an intro entrepreneurial management course. So that's why I'm here also. It's the first time as well.
I'm DP Knudten. I'm a creative collaborator. In fact, that's the name of the company, the DBA that I'm using, Collaborator Creative. See what I did there? I work with people on marketing and telling their story. Yeah, whatever. Thank you. I'll be here all week. Enjoy the meal.
All right, with that, we're going to get over to our presenter. Let's hear it for Nate from Dispatch.
That works. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. I just want to give you a quick little background on me. Originally from Wisconsin, then I was in Illinois for 20 years. We just made it back last year, so we're very happy to be back in Wisconsin. I was in marketing for a long time, and then made my way into real estate. I'm still a real estate investor and very active in that space, but I always wanted to develop some sort of widget. I wanted to invent something, but I didn't really know how to invent anything. But I was listening to a podcast one day, and they were talking about software as a service, and I thought that made a lot of sense to me. So, not knowing how to code or anything, I didn't really know where to start though. So I was talking with my wife, who's a teacher, and she said that some of her pain points were attendance at school. And so we talked about that for a little while, tried to figure out a solution for attendance, and we couldn't. So we segued over to something completely different. She said that the front office in the morning is incredibly chaotic and hectic. So what if we could come up with a solution for the front office? They're getting tons of phone calls in the morning, voicemails, they're writing down everything feverishly, inputting it into their systems. What if we could, solve that kind of problem? So show of hands, who has school-age kids or has had school-age kids? Okay, quite a few. For those of you who have not, have you ever attended school? Right. So, we all know the process when absence has to be reported. You have to call the school. You have to let them know that your kid is going to be gone. So that was kind of our thought, was no more absence phone calls. And our first iteration on the idea was really like a phone tree. Like when you call the pharmacy to see if your prescription's ready. You just dial some buttons and then you figure out if it's ready or if it's going to be ready soon. So that was our first iteration, but when I was talking with the developer, he's like, that's going to be really expensive to do, it's going to be kind of difficult. So let's go the text route and we can get an MVP out a lot faster. And to this day, we've actually stuck with that, and I'll talk a little bit more about why we've stuck with the text-based route in a little bit. So surprisingly, at the time we thought that surely there must be an automated system out there. But as I talked to more and more schools and did some research, it appears, and this is just a guesstimate on my part, that 99% of schools have no sort of automation when it comes to dealing with absences. There is one other competitor, one other company out there that has an app, but it's incredibly buggy, and that's part of the reason why we went the text route and stayed the text route. So it's pretty wide open space right now, which can be good or bad, because maybe there's not a need for it. But we do have one customer at the moment. We are definitely in startup mode. So I do want to show you dispatch in action. I'll show a quick video here. I'm going to keep the sound off. This is what the parent will see. You can text anything. You can even text, a puking emoji, and it will start the conversation. And the parent just has to follow the text flow. So it just says, hello Nate, what would you like to report today? Choose 1 for absence, 2 for late arrival, or 3 for early dismissal. And then it knows which students are attached to your number and what school those students are at. So it says text 1 for Sally, 2 for Robert. And then some schools need to know, if it's an illness, they need to know what the symptoms are. So you can type in the symptoms. And then you have to tell them what date this is for. So 1 for today, 2 for tomorrow, or you can put a date in the future. So you get a confirmation text, and then you also get a delayed confirmation email. The reason we have the email confirmation on a delay is just in case the kid hijacks the parent's phone and texts themselves in as absent. The parent will still get an email and they'll be like, wait, I didn't do that, and Junior's grounded. So then we'll take a quick look at the administrative dashboard. So this is a live feed. So once the parent completes the text thread, it shows up on the school dashboard. And then the school attendance staff can input that into their system. And then they can download the CSV as needed for a range going back to a year, because they need to report certain things to the state. So as you can see, it's very simple, it's efficient. There's nothing to download like an app. When I did look at the reviews of this other competitor, they were all 1-star reviews. And some of the, there was over 100 of them. And so I was, at that point I was like, I'm so glad we went the texting route, because apps are more expensive and they can be buggy. Part of the other problem with apps is that there's just so much that a parent has to do. It's another login to remember, it's another app to download. And it just, on some of these school websites that do have that app, there's 1 to 2 pages of instructions on how to log into the app and all that stuff. So there's just one phone number for the entire district, and they just have to save that in their phone. That's it. So it's easy to use. Parents love it. I just hired a salesperson. She's a mom of 4 daughters, and so she's like, I have to get this in our school like pronto because this will save us so much headache. So like I said, it texts to the live feed, although in a minute we'll talk about an integration that we have that's upcoming. Texting is faster than a phone call. How many of you text at least, 10 times a day? 20 times a day? Yeah, we use our phone a lot just for those quick communications when we need to, and this makes sense for that as well. It's secure. We interface with the school district servers using secure servers. I'm not technical, so if there are questions about that, I'll have to refer you to my co-founder. And it's cost effective. What we've found is that it saves so much time that the school staff can really do some more important activities. One of the other things that we've also found out is that most states, they will give funding to school districts. And so 40 to 50% of your funding comes from the local government, and then 40 to 50% comes from the state. The state bases that funding based on what's called average daily attendance. And so they need to know that number at the end of the year so they can figure out how much funding they're going to give to each district. So if we're saving the district tons of time, we can save the attendance staff this time, we can effectively get them interfacing with the chronically absent kids and with their parents to help them get to school more frequently. And there's actually been some studies that are very compelling that show that just 1 or 2 communications throughout the year helps improve attendance by 1 to 2%. And that can mean a difference of tens of thousands of dollars, or if you're a very large district, hundreds of thousands of dollars in funding. So the market, there are over 13,000 public school districts in the U.S. That doesn't include charter schools and private schools. Right now we have very low competition. Like I said, that could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing. Generally, if someone else is in the market, that's a good thing. It wouldn't bother me if there were a couple other competitors because it just is that big. The problem is the sales cycles when you're selling to school districts are incredibly long and somewhat painful. It might take a couple months, but it could take a year and a half. It just depends on the size of the school, how much bureaucracy there is, what their technological needs are, what their budget is, all that kind of stuff. But once you're in, as long as you don't screw up, you're there for a long time. I've seen anything from 5 to 10 years that a school will stick with the technology. So the lifetime value of a school district is quite compelling. So just last month, we developed a partnership with PowerSchool. PowerSchool is the largest software provider to school districts. And especially when it comes to the student information systems. So now we've been working with them as an official partner to integrate directly with that. So there would be no more need for that dashboard I showed you earlier. They don't have to even look at that if they don't want to. It just goes straight into the system.
What else does PowerSchool? What do they do?
PowerSchool, so their primary product would be like the student information system. So with all the parent and the parent-student data, and that's connected then to everything. It could be everything from their attendance to scheduling to there's a lot of other apps that they have, but then they've partnered with about 80 other software vendors for different products that integrate directly with them. I think they're in something like 75% of schools. So they're a really big player in the space. Right now we're integrating with them, and we're going to be one of their sponsors at their big annual convention coming up in March. And as we move forward, Madison School District uses Infinite Campus, so does Sun Prairie. There's probably a dozen big players in the student information space. So there's Tyler and Skyward. So we'll work toward integrations with those in the future as well. But as we can still work with schools, it just won't be a direct integration at this point until we work with those partners. So you're all asking how much is it? It's $6 per student per year. And we do have a setup fee because every school district is a little bit different, so there are going to be some customizations on the front end when we're onboarding them. But that's it. And the future, I mean, we're a startup. We don't know what the future holds, but we do hope to get into 10 districts. Like I said, we're in 1 right now in Illinois. We hope to be in 10 by the fall, and then I'd like to be in 30 by the following fall. And then before we jump into Q&A, I guess my ask of you guys is if you are connected with any school administrators or school boards, anything like that, I would love to talk to you or do a demo for any of your connections, just so we can hopefully help the school district solve this problem.
Joey, question. So I guess my question would be, as a parent, like I totally see, like for me right now, I have Madison School District kids, so I have to hop into Infinite Campus, and it's kind of annoying to like log in and get to the point of doing it. So I see the value of being way easier just to send a text and say my kids aren't going to be there. I'm just curious on like you said, kind of long sales cycle, kind of the bureaucracy of the schools. What kind of feedback have you got from the schools? Are they interested in something like this? Or are they kind of content with what they have, the calling, the, making us go into Infinite Campus?
Yeah, I think that's kind of actually changed just in the last couple of years because I think there's been a changing of the guard. There's a lot of younger superintendents and technology directors and CIOs. And so, and everyone, I mean, the stats blow up more and more every day, the amount of people that text. So if people understand when I was selling real estate, I mean, I had 80-year-old clients that prefer texting, to a phone call. So it's like, it's definitely an easy way, and people understand it now. But obviously it's going to be work for them too. Like we want to make it as easy as possible, especially the onboarding process. But it's going to be work to change from what they're doing to something new, and that's part of it. Is just educating them on what has to happen to make it.
I guess on the follow, do you have any like stats on so if my kids are off school, I just hop into campus and report it. But do you know how many people are actually still calling? Is there any stats around that? Like say X% call versus going to the online system? Because it seems like the calling would be the big thing you're trying to get rid of, right? Like
we've had right now we're still working on the integration, so we don't have like a lot of data at the moment. Yeah. But we do know the parents overwhelmingly like it. Some people are still going to call, and we're still working on some features that will do like longer term absences, like hey, we're going to be on vacation next week, stuff like that, where parents are still going to call in right now. So some parents are still going to call because that's what they're used to. But we have part of the onboarding process. I made a video for each school district that tells them, save this number in your phone. This is how it works. This is what happens if you're having any trouble with it. And most people seem to really like it.
So, the little demo walkthrough was super cool, and overall the idea seems really neat. The demo made me wonder, how do you bootstrap the information? So in your example, right, clearly parent's phone number was probably in the system already, and then there's obviously associated with data about the students. So I assume if you're integrated, you're getting that through the integration. In a standalone model, is that just where the $1,500 comes in, or just kind of how do you get the pump primed?
Right, yeah, so if there is no integration, we need that parent-student database, and then we need to set up a server to sync with, on a daily basis, because otherwise it's going to get, there's too much stuff that changes, an email address changes, a phone number changes, a parent guardian change. So that's a lot of manual work on their part. We're not going to do that, but that's more work for them, and we don't want to do that. So that's why, and it makes our marketing much easier, this partnership with Power School. Like, right now we're only marketing to Power School districts just because it makes sense.
And then all that goes away, right? Because you just get that integration.
Exactly. Yep.
DP?
If you have a multiple kid household, it's not unusual for, let's say you have 3 kids, 2 of them might be down, same sickness, same day. Can I type in, say, both my daughters Claire and Anna are sick, and takes me through the list and all that stuff? One text chain essentially deals with that?
That will be available in the next month or so. So that's a feature that we're rolling out.
See, I see that as a huge benefit, because when you've got one kid in elementary school, one kid in middle school, and one kid in high school, you potentially have 3 different people you have to call and deal with if you can do it in one text chain.
Yep, exactly, yep. That is on our to-do list.
The other thing I like too is that, and by the way, I just kind of revealed that I have 3 daughters. Mornings are hectic as hell. Driving to and from and everything else, the ability to go on Infinite Campus on a desktop is not a possibility. You're doing it on a phone and you're trying to navigate through a crappy mobile iteration. You know, being able to do this via text to me is like hallelujah.
Or you're trying to get 1 kid to school or 2 kids to school.
Right.
You kind of forget the other one's sick and it's, oh wait, I gotta tell the school. Like,
You can sit in the Starbucks line and you can text in that one of them is not going to be there.
Right. And the other thing I kind of glossed over was it's not just for full day absences, it's also for the late arrivals and the early dismissals. So typically you're going to have like a 5% full day absence rate, but then you're probably looking at another 3 to 5% for these late arrivals and early dismissals too. So that's a lot of other time saved.
Go back.
It sounds like a really great idea. You have to integrate with these partners. What's stopping the partners from just duplicating what you're offering and just offering it on their own?
I've asked that same question over and over the last 3 years, but no one's doing anything about it. I don't know if it's not a sexy enough problem to solve. It's kind of complex. It was definitely more complex once we dove into it. There's a lot of moving parts, and I think some of these other technology companies certainly could do something exactly the same or similar, or do another app. The nice thing about working with PowerSchool is they're not looking to compete with us because it's a revenue share model. So they do get revenue share from us when there is a sale with that integration. And that's how most of these other companies are that's how they work into it. Well,
It almost seems to me like this is a feature set that sits on a board somewhere that they want to get to eventually, but they've got their knitting they got to pay attention to. And yes, someday someone might, but that's when everything else is taken care of, and everything is never taken care of.
It reminds me of Epic, you know, which is a big system, and everybody's bolting on with their applications.
Yep.
Epic's not interested in developing all
No, they're
those.
doing other things, yeah, exactly. They want to make sure that everything works with theirs. Yeah.
Is there a cost to you for every text that gets sent?
Yes.
Every message?
Yeah, so we're at the moment we're built on Twilio, so we're getting charged per message.
Yeah, okay.
Josh?
I'm curious about how you got to the price. I'll admit, like, my first reaction was, it seemed high. And I went and did the math, and like for Madison, it's $160K a year, you know, I don't know, 2.5 FTE probably all in. What's the, I mean, I'm sure there's a rationale, I'm just curious.
Sure, yeah, I mean, the pricing is kind of tricky. I actually started off much lower, and I had people telling me it needed to be higher. So we have, as we've been talking with districts, no one's balked the price yet. I mean, districts, they spend hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars on certain technology solutions, so it's kind of a drop in the bucket for some of them.
Sure.
But if you show them some of the value with it, and especially getting like more funding from the state, if they can work with a couple of initiatives, that kind of puts a kibosh on that.
Cool.
I think as you get more maybe local districts on board, to be able to have a screen that shows the ROI, because right, you're trying to save time and money in the office, but then you're also trying to increase the grant money to the school or to the district. So I think that would be a really big player just in the districts that I work with. I think that's...
Yeah, that's why we need to get a couple more on board so that we can actually like really see the data and get some feedback like that.
Well, tagging on to your comment, it sounds like you've got a couple of different value stories. You've got a customer service value story because the frontline desk, the front office employee really is a customer service point of sale, if you will, or point of service. So there's that. If you free up someone from having to answer the phone or even deal with the messages, they're now available for better customer service. Then there's also a couple of different value stories that if you had a slide that literally built that value equation at the end of it, it's like, wow, that's a tremendous value.
You know, one of my initial thoughts was I never want to put someone out of a job, and I don't see that happening in the near future, but some of it will be kind of redundant. So there is the potential to cut workforce or put them in a different position in the future. I mean, there's still a lot of running around. They're still having to, even though all this information will be in the system, they still have to double check on some things, especially when it comes to like the late arrivals, the early dismissals. There's still some communication that has to happen. So they're always
and that to me is a communication thing. It's not about getting rid of an employee. It's about freeing them up for the more important task, which is customer service.
Yep.
Yeah, I look at like my kid's elementary school, the lady that runs the office, she kind of runs the school, right? And that taking the calls is one thing, but there's way more important things that she could probably be doing in the morning versus being on the phone all morning. So
Yeah. So
I don't even think about some job, honestly.
referring back to that study I was talking about, if a school district just sends out one postcard at the beginning of the year to the parents, just letting them know how important attendance is, that makes that uptick that much more important. So they can do stuff like that, do some direct mail or email, or just interface with the parents, directly in helping with those chronically absent kids. I read one study where I think basically a school district loses out on $27 per day if a kid is absent in state funding. So when you add that up over the course of a school year and how many students they have, I mean, that's some big numbers.
And you're capturing really valuable data, even if it's anonymized, where, if you can literally say that this person's habitually late, which they already can do, right? But then it frees up that customer service, as you mentioned, person to deal with that family and help support them. That makes the average daily attendance metric resonate to people who are more engineering, money-oriented. As a taxpayer, if I'm understanding that we're getting more taxes from the state to pay for our school district, that helps me go, yeah, this is something that is tremendously valuable.
Right. Yeah, it's just explaining that why.
Yeah.
Parents, because they just don't get it. Like, I didn't even know about that a couple months ago.
Yeah.
So I wonder if you've thought about exploring the sort of ambassador program opportunity that you have. You talked about, and I'm sure this is going to matter a lot more when you have more schools on board, but you talked about how when I say that my kid is sick and they're going to be absent, right, your system already knows what schools the kids go to. If I have one kid in elementary and one in middle school, but the middle school is maybe in a different district or just doesn't have the same software set up, I want that, right? Like I want the same convenient system in all the places that my kid go to school. So it seems like there's an ambassadorship opportunity there to push these parents and say, hey, you've got kids at other school if you have that data, or something along those lines.
Yeah, I think once parents get more involved with it, 'cause there's going to be there's more parents using it than like schools using it. So once the word gets out, hopefully to the school board, the PTO, stuff like that, even just talking to the principals or whatever, it's gonna hopefully. I think I do see a lot of organic growth once, because the school districts also talk to each other. They're usually in pretty small circles. They get together. The CTOs get together and they talk and they go to conferences together, so they see what everyone's using.
Sure.
I'm assuming this can be tweaked to go the other way, where, my kids are actually in a private school, and they actually do use texting already. I'm not sure how that's integrated. Early dismissal, weather-related, tragedies, whatever, pushing notifications out the other way. Is that integrated into your platform at all?
Most schools already have communication going the other way, that outbound. There's almost, we're one of the very few inbound solutions.
Well, just to everyone, is that text mostly, or?
You either get text updates, an update from the app, or a phone call, like an automated phone call. Yeah. Now, one thing we do have from the dashboard that they can use is if a parent forgets to text in, the staff can send a reminder text directly from the dashboard, and they get that on their phone, and they're like, oh shoot, I forgot, and they can actually just right from there, they can press the numbers and get going, and then it comes back. So that's another phone call saved for the staff.
Well, and that's also a daily attendance booster because parents are paying when their kids skip it.
Yeah, it's a safety thing too, just knowing where the kids are. That's kind of why all this has to be tracked.
I do.
All right, do we have any more questions? I think we'll give us one more. Anybody wants to jump in there?
The one I was trying to figure out, like my wife's a teacher for 8th grade, and so attendance is brutal,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
So I'm trying to think, a lot of the kids that are skipping aren't necessarily going to have their parents be texting in or anything like that. One thing I did wonder is you have kids coming and going out of the school district, so how do you achieve your number, your $6 a kid number?
What do you mean by going in and out of?
Like kids move in, kids leave, like Sun Prairie School District is going up, Madison School District is going down. So you just pick a date, like September 1st?
It would be like whenever the start date is, we ask for the enrollment figure that they have, and then we'll go from that. If there's a significant adjustment up or down, we'll figure that out the next cycle.
Okay.
All right. Well, let's hear it for Nate. Don't sit down yet. I have a gift for you. It's this beautiful, orange, lovely 1 million cup smug. Everybody. Nate, are you going to be hanging out for just a little bit after?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So if anybody wants to come chat, feel free to pop up here after we're done. Quick final thanks to Starting Block for their continued support and DreamMake for the space. If you haven't already, I forgot to mention it at the top, grab the 1 Million Cups app and go check in. Let us know that you've been here. With that, let's hear it one more time for Nate. Everybody have a great rest of your